Namaste viewers and listeners. Myself Dr. Brahmdatt Sharma, Associate Professor Komarbhitya, Shri Shirdi Sai Baba Ayurvedic College, Renwal, Jaipur. Today I am going to talk about a bacterial disease, tetanus, or we can say Dhanurvat. The word tetanus is derived from Greek word tetanus or tenion, meaning rigid and stretched. When we see the definition, it is an neurological disease characterized by an acute onset of hypertonia, painful muscular contraction and generalized muscle spasm that is caused by a bacteria, that is Clostridium tetani. The main feature of this disease is hypertonia and painful musculature. Next, etiology. It is caused by Clostridium tetani. It is an anaerobic motile gram-positive bacilli, oval, colorless, terminal spores. Its shape is like tennis racket or drumstick shape. It is found worldwide in soil, in animate environment, in animal feces and occasionally human feces. Then epidemiology. Prior to the National Immunization Program, it is estimated that 3.5 lakh children were dying annually due to this disease. 70,000 cases continue to occur largely in the state of Odisha, Bihar, MP, Assam and Rajasthan, UP also, where TT immunization coverage is less than national coverage, that is 70%. Tetanus occur worldwide but is more common in hot damp climate with soil rich in organic matter. Mortality rate reported vary from 40 to 78%. The transmission of tetanus follow an acute injury that may be puncture wound, laceration, abrasion or other trauma. It may be acquired indoor or during outdoor activities like farming and gardening. Infected umbilical stump in newborn of inadequately immunized mother, there is chances of tetanus. Next important thing is pathophysiology. The bacteria Clostridium tetani enters body from wound or any abrasion or any injury. It stays in sporulated form until anaerobic conditions are presented. Then germinates under anaerobic condition and begins to multiply and produce tetanospasmin. Tetanospasmin spread using blood and lymphatic system and bind to motor neurons. After binding from motor neurons, it travels along the axon to the spinal cord. Then it binds to site responsible for inhibiting skeletal muscle contraction. The result is it blocks the release of inhibitory neurotransmitters like glycine and gamma aminobutyric acid. The result is it leads to unopposed muscular contraction and spasm that are characteristic of tetanus. Next is the types. Mainly 4 types of tetanus is found. First one is generalized, then local, then cephalic tetanus, and next is neonatal tetanus or tetanus neonatorum. First type is generalized tetanus. It is a most common form. It is found in 80% of the cases. The incubation period of tetanus 3 to 10 days, usually 7 days is there. The shorter the incubation period, the higher the chance of death in tetanus. In general, the further injury site from the central nervous system, the longer the incubation period. That means if the site of injury is far from central nervous system, then incubation period will be more. Typically the patient first notice increased tone in the masseter muscle. Result is difficulty in opening of mouth and chewing, swallowing. Then there is dysphagia or stiffness and pain in neck, shoulder and back muscles. It appears concurrently or soon thereafter the increased muscle tone of the masseter muscle. There are some classical features of tetanus, in which first is trismus, or we can say lockjaw. There is spasm of masseter muscle, you can see in picture first. Then second condition is risus sardonicus. It means sustained contraction of facial musculature produce a sneering grin expression, you can see in the picture second. Third condition is opisthotonus. In severe condition, spasm of extension of the neck, back and leg from a backward curvature, you can see in this picture third. And there is rigid abdomen and stiff proximal limbs muscles. The hands and feet are relatively dysphagia occur in moderately severe tetanus due to pharyngeal muscle spasm. So there is difficulty in feeding and eating. Reflex spasm develop in most of the patients and can be triggered by a minimal external stimuli such as noise, light or any touch. The spasm lasts second to minutes, become more intense, increase in frequency with disease progression, and can cause apnea, fractures, dislocations and rhabdomyolysis. What is rhabdomyolysis? There is breakdown of muscle tissue, so muscle protein flow in blood and hamper the kidney function. So there may be renal failure also. In generalized tetanus, there is autonomic system dysfunction also. Tetanospasmin has a disinhibitory effect on the autonomous nervous system due to increased release of the catecholamines. It causes hyperpyrexia, sweating, labile sustained hypertension, episodic tachycardia, dysarrhythmias and cardiac arrest. Occasionally, period of bradycardia and hypotension is also there. Other symptoms include drooling of saliva, mental impairment, hand and foot spasm, irritability, uncontrolled urination and defecation. Duration of the illness. In generalized tetanus, tetanus toxin induced effects are long lasting because recovery required the growth of new axonal nerve terminals. So the growth of these terminals take too much time. The usual duration of clinical tetanus is 4 to 6 weeks. There is a classification for the severity of generalized tetanus, that is Ablett classification of severity. It is divided in 4 stages. One is mild, second is moderate, third is severe and fourth is very severe. You can see the features according to stage. In mild stage there is mild trismus, general spasticity, no respiration embarrassment, no spasm, no dysphagia. In second, moderate case, moderate trismus, rigidity, short spasm, mild dysphagia, moderate respiratory involvement, respiratory rate is more than 30 and mild dysphagia. In severe case, severe trismus, generalized spasticity, prolonged spasm, respiratory rate more than 40, severe dysphagia, apneic spells and pulse rate is more than 120. In very severe case, grade 3 plus severe autonomic disturbance involving the cardiovascular system. Next, second type is local tetanus. It is uncommon form. It is generally milder. 1% cases are fatal but may precede the generalized tetanus. Manifestation are restricted to muscle near the wound. Cramping and twisting in skeletal muscles surrounding the wound or local rigidity is there. So the all symptoms related to local area. Contraction persists for weeks before subsiding, affects mostly the cranial nerve and facial nerves. Its prognosis is excellent because it does not cover the whole area. Next, third type is cephalic tetanus. It follows head injury and ear infections like otitis media. It's associated with dysfunction of one or more cranial nerves. Most commonly, facial nerve is involved. There is poor prognosis due to involvement of brain. As its part, there is ophthalmoplegic tetanus. It is a variant that develops after penetrating eye injuries and result in cranial nerve 3 palsies and ptosis. You can see in this picture the involvement of facial nerve is there. Next, fourth and very important type is neonatal tetanus or tetanus neonatorum. Cause inadequately immunized mother, unsterilized treatment of the umbilical cord stump. At the time of delivery, if we don't follow the proper hygiene, there may be neonatal tetanus. Onset after 3 to 10 days after birth. Pattern is generalized. Initial symptoms is failure to suck and inability to open mouth, known as trismus, irritability, and there is excessive cry. Then develop rhesus sardonicus. Within 12 to 24 hours, tonic muscular convulsions can occur. Opisthotonus may occur in some cases. You can see in this picture. In first picture, there is rhesus sardonicus. Second also, and third, opisthotonus condition. Complication of tetanus, most common broken bones due to higher muscle rigidity, disability due to prolonged immobility due to the use of these drugs like powerful sedatives that can lead to permanent disabilities. Aspiration pneumonia, laryngospasm can produce breathing difficulties, pulmonary embolism, tetanic seizures, severe kidney failure due to breakdown of muscle tissue and circulating myoglobin. We can differentially diagnose it from tetany, encephalitis, strychnine poisoning, rabies, bacterial meningitis, birth trauma and epilepsy. Diagnosis of tetanus is mainly based on clinical features. In laboratory studies, there may demonstrate a moderate peripheral leukocytosis or increased WBC count. Antitoxin level of 0.01 international unit per ml or greater in serum is generally considered protective. CSF findings are normal. Direct smear show gram-positive bacilli with drumstick appearance. Wounds should be cultured for the bacteria, animal inoculation to demonstrate toxigenicity, the spatula test, that is very famous. By spatula touching the oropharynx, it generates the gag reflex and there is locked jaw condition. So there is difficulty in opening of mouth. So we can assess the ability of tetanus by this test. Next important thing is management. What are the principles of the management? First one is admit patient to the intensive care unit and maintain a dark and quiet environment for the patient. Neutralization of unbound toxins by human tetanus immunoglobulins or anti-tetanus serum. Prevention of further toxin production by wound debridements and antibiotics. Control of spasm by anticonvulsants, sedatives, muscle relaxant. Management of autonomic dysfunction by magnesium sulfate and beta blockers. Supportive care as physiotherapy, nutrition, thromboembolism prophylaxis and airway breathing circulation management. First is antitoxin. Tetanus immunoglobulins, a single IM dose of 3000 to 5000 unit. We can divide 100 unit per kg, half in each buttocks, is generally recommended for children and adults. Anti-tetanus serum 10,000 to 1 lakh unit, then 750 unit by 24 hour to the cut for the 3 days. Next is prevention for further toxin production. So debridement of wound. So excise at least 2 cm of normal viable appearance tissue around the wound margin. Antibiotics, we can use penicillin 10 to 20 million unit IV given daily for 10 days. Metronidazole 500 mg every 6 hours or 1 gram every 12 hours. Doxycycline, clindamycin and erythromycin are alternative for penicillin allergic patients. For control of muscle spasm, we can use diazepam or midazolam 0.1 to 0.2 mg per kg IV every 3 to 6 hours or depending on the muscle spasm. Phenobarbital up to 200 mg IV. Skeletal muscle relaxant vecuronium 0.1 mg per kg IV, atracurium 0.5 mg per kg IV, datrolin and intrathecal baclofen we can use. Then management of autonomic dysfunction, magnesium sulfate loading dose of 5 gram should be given over 20 minutes followed by intravenous infusion of 2 gram per hour. For supportive care, airway management, intubation or tracheostomy with or without mechanical ventilation may be required for hypoventilation due to oversedation or laryngospasm or for the avoidance of aspiration by the patients. In case of severe laryngospasm, the tracheostomy is preferred. For nutrition, a patient with tetanus require a high daily caloric intake because the increased muscle activity. Prophylactic treatment with sucral fat or acid blockers may be used to prevent gastroesophageal hemorrhage from the stress and ulceration. As anticoagulant, for prophylaxis of thromboembolism with low molecular weight heparin or other should be administered early. For the prevention of tetanus, The active immunization, it provides protection for at least 10 years. First dose as DPT as 6 week, next 10 week, and next is 14 week. First booster of DPT at 16 to 18 month, second booster 4 to 6 years of age, and third booster at 10th year. Every 10th year TT should be administered. Next important thing is prevention of neonatal tetanus. So always try to clean delivery practice. What are the three cleans? Clean hands, clean delivery surface, clean cord care. Tetanus toxoid protects both mother and child. So unimmunized pregnant women, 2 doses of tetanus toxoid should be given at 16 to 36 weeks apart. First dose as early as possible during pregnancy at 16th week. Second dose at least a month later or 3 weeks before the delivery. Immunized pregnant women, a booster is sufficient. No need of booster in every consecutive pregnancy. To newborn of unimmunized mother, 500 unit human tetanus immunoglobulin within 6 hours of birth should be given. Thank you very much. If you like this video, please click on like and bell button, and please subscribe my channel for other interesting videos.